Today's guest is an inspirational speaker. She's a yoga teacher, a meditation teacher, a holistic health coach. She's the founder of Radically Loved and the host of Radically Loved radio podcast, my girlfriend, Rosie Acosta.
Yay!
Yay!
I love that you said this is just like my bio.
Yeah, I was like, this is, because we don't, I don't have like, what are they, to read off of. I have to memorize it, but to memorize your bio, I was reading it and I was like, this is basically my biography, so we have a lot in common.
You're right, we do.
Yeah.
We do.
So tell me, how did all of this begin? How did you get into yoga and meditation
How long do we have?
I know.
No, I'm just kidding. So I grew up in East Los Angeles, like during the LA riots and stuff, and so I kind of was raised in a very chaotic environment.
Wow.
So that was, I don't know actually if you knew that or not.
Well, I was reading and it said troubled teen, and I was what's going on?
Like bad troubled teen.
Really?
Oh yeah, with the law. Like I got in trouble.
Wow. You're like gangster yogi.
Yeah, totally.
Wow.
The epitome of the gangster yogi. Yeah, I was bad kid.
Wow.
Yeah, and I got into a lot of trouble, and it's just that's the kind of environment you're around. So you're a product of your environment,
Exactly.
and so that was sort of my upbringing. I was surrounded by a lot of there was gang violence and drug use and
Sure.
domestic abuse. I mean, it was just kind of when you grow up in that environment, you don't really know any better, and
Right.
it's normal. And so it wasn't until I became a teenager when all of these things started to manifest themselves, right? I started to suffer from debilitating panic attacks and insomnia, depression. All of these things were happening, and I couldn't figure out why. I'm like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with me? It wasn't until I started to really act out as a teenager, right? Where I was, there was a situation where I was in trouble with the law, and I was, it was basically like I had to get my life together. I was going to go to juvenile detention.
Wow.
So it was like that. I was on probation. It was really intense. And so because of the court-ordered therapy, anger management,
Wow.
basically all of these things that I had to do, that's when it really started to hit me that perhaps it was the way that I was raised that was causing me to have all of these things happen. And so, my mom, my single parent, my mom was raising my older sister and I, and so she was working really hard to manage all of these things. Good thing my older sister was like the golden child, right? Because I was, the one that was getting into trouble. So during this whole time, my mom was also having a self-development phase. How could you not, right? She's trying to deal with all of these things. And somebody she had met at work, she was working at the Children's Hospital in Hollywood, somebody had said that she should go to the center, the Self-Realization Center in Hollywood.
I was just there like last
Which one?
week.
The one in Malibu?
The one in Malibu.
Yeah, Lake Shrine.
Yeah,
that's
Lake Shrine. So beautiful.
Yeah, that's a whole separate story.
Yeah.
I had an awakening there. I literally had an
Wow.
awakening there. So that was my introduction to yoga and meditation, because my mom had come home with these like little pamphlets, and I was reading about it, and the only thing that she knew was that meditation or these types of different modalities were really good for people that had anxiety and stress. And she's like, well, my daughter's suffering from these things, maybe I should bring her along. And she did, and I thought it was so weird. I always talk about this, like yogis are weird, right?
Yeah.
Like you go in and
It's very woo-wah, wee-wah.
yeah, totally. They were chanting. They were like, everybody was really nice, and I thought it was really
You're like, what's going on here? What do you want from me?
I'm like, what's happening here? And everybody was so happy. I'm like, why is everybody so happy? I couldn't figure it out. It took a couple of times in order for me to finally listen to what they were saying. They started to talk. I remember it was this woman, especially this woman was giving a lecture. She was talking about being responsible for your own happiness. And this is the first time I had ever heard anybody talk about taking agency in your own choices.
Yeah.
Because I grew up around an environment and people it was a victim mentality. It was like, this is just the way things are. Like, this is just the way your life's determined to be this way. And there's really nothing you can do about it. And so this was the first moment where I had the pros to believe something different,
Yeah.
right? And so that was all it took. So I was introduced to yoga as a philosophy before I even knew that there was a physical component.
Which is the way that it's usually taught traditionally.
Right.
And I was the same way actually when I was 15. I had anxiety, and my cousin gave me a yoga book, and I found the pranayama, the breathing
Yeah.
first, was helping me with anxiety. But I love that, like, you took, well, not on purpose, but you took a bad situation, ended up being a blessing.
Yeah.
Because had you not gone through that,
Oh, yeah.
who knows when you would have found yoga.
Oh, I mean, I think it really saved my life. That
Yeah.
situation really saved my life. I think about it now, when at the time I just felt like I wasn't so surprised that I was getting into that much trouble and I was being bad, because I just felt like that's what was expected of me.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
It's
crazy.
sad, right?
I know.
I know, but it's the reality. And look, it's the reality, especially, growing up in that type of socioeconomic inheritance. That's just what happens. It's what people expect. And so I found that in my journey, I fast forward to, beginning to work and becoming responsible for myself, and getting more into yoga as a physical practice, and it basically just changed my life. And it was really always my foundational support system to create whatever life I wanted, because I always had that as my sanctuary. And then I did a teacher training, and now it's become my life. And part of what was always my foundation to this practice was that I wanted to bring this practice to everyone. I
Right.
wanted to make it accessible for everyone, and I wanted everybody to feel inclusive, and I wanted people to have the same experience that I did. So that was always my big intention.
Because I think a lot of people are nervous about yoga. They don't want to
Yeah.
go, and they think it is a woo-wah, wee-wah, and I can't touch my toes, and they
I'm
overthink
not
everything.
flexible.
Yeah, all of that stuff. And now you're actually teaching teacher training,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean,
which
you have
is so much fun.
You're doing so much stuff, like teacher training. I was like, what? How did she do all of this stuff?
I don't sleep. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just love it so much. You know what they say, when you find what your purpose is or what you love, and you can wake up every morning and just be really grateful and excited about it. I found that. And I almost feel like, well, I did my penance my first 15 years of being alive. And so now the next 15 years have been all about, overcoming that adversity and being able to do something that I really love. And so I just continue to build and build and build. And for me, it's always been about the marathon and not the race, right? Not the sprint. It's always been, I've always looked forward to the longer term. I'm a serial monogamist too, so it's like I like things that are more long term.
Yeah.
And I find that especially now with the way we function in the society, everything's so instant, right? Everything is
true.
so instant, and we're so conditioned to believe that everything happens quickly. Everything is instant likes, instant insta fame, like everything is instant. Like we get everything in an instant, and so it's creating this facade that everything happens overnight. I mean, and that it's like it
Yeah.
takes hard work. It's taken
Yeah.
a long time, and people don't stop to think about that.
A long time. Yeah. People ask me a lot on Instagram, how long have you been practicing? And I'm like, 20 years. 20 years. Like, my leg didn't get behind the back of my head overnight, even
Right.
though it seems like, and I think we talked about this a little bit actually when I was on your podcast, Radically Loved,
Yeah.
about how yoga has changed so much. And I know you were on tour with Yoga Journal.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, which I feel like when I think of Yoga Journal, I think of like the OGs of yogi, you know, and a lot of those people have not transitioned into the Instagram world, but they were my mentors and my gurus, so to speak. And a lot of them aren't even in the Instagram world. I mean, how do you think, like, what do you think about all of that in yoga?
I mean, I feel like people like you and I can begin to bridge the gap, because I do feel that some of our, you know, as you would say, like old school teachers, I have two opinions about it, right? So it's like the first one is I'm a firm believer of tradition and having a teacher and studying with the teacher and still having that apprenticeship, you know, to keep the sort of the tradition alive of how things were done back in the day, you know,
Right.
like way back in the day.
Yeah.
And I know that there are all these preconceived judgments that people may have because of, you know, recent events that have happened with guru type of abuse of power, etc. But I really do believe everything we do comes from the knowledge of somewhere else, right?
Right.
Everything that we do. And so for me, honoring that foundation has always been very important to me. But I also feel that we evolve as humans, and in order for us to reach more people, we have to be able to evolve with the times. And I totally respect the teachers out there that, you know, don't engage in social media. In fact,
Right.
if that's what works for them, I think it's great. You know, I think we talked about this on the podcast too. It's like we kind of go back and forth. And for me, it's a medium for me to communicate with the people listening to my podcast or my students or my community. And I love the fact that I can reach so many
Exactly.
people. And I think that it's like what they say about like people that don't think that money is a spiritual thing. You know, in order for you to have more of an impact with people, you need to be able to earn an income.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's my opinion, you know?
Yeah.
And so I feel like if you use social media as a commodity to expand that base, then why not?
Right.
You know?
Use your platform.
Yeah,
for
to
good.
use the platform for a good cause. I mean, I wish that some of these teachers would be.
I know, me
Do
too.
you know what I
Sometimes I
mean?
check and I'm like, how do they only have this many followers? They're like, they have so much to
Yeah.
share, but they just, they don't understand the concept.
Yeah, and the other thing is the thinking behind, you know, when people do see, oh, maybe they see this really famous, or for us, like an OG, like old school yoga teacher, and people might say, oh, they only have 800 followers, they must not be good.
I know,
Right?
it's so depressing.
I know, and it's like, how do we begin to change that paradigm, you know? And I don't know that we can, but I shouldn't say that one person can make a difference. I'm sure you can, but I don't know. I kind of vacillate between, is it good, is it not good? For me, it's been a very fruitful platform to use, and I know for
Right.
you it has as well. And the way I gauge it is, if it's doing more good than bad, then why not?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. And you're going on to do, like, we talked about, you're doing a TEDx
know.
talk in January.
In January, yes.
Like,
yeah.
this is amazing.
Yeah, I'm really nerve-sighted about it.
How are you preparing, like, because you do inspirational speaking.
Yeah, I
Is
do.
it-
I do some speaking. In fact, I'm doing a speaking engagement at She Recovers in LA and Beverly Hills in a couple weeks in September, which is going to be really great. And it's, I mean, Cheryl Strait is speaking, Janet Mock, like there's some really great speakers.
So amazing.
But yeah, how am I preparing for it? I'm not sure yet. It's still a couple of months away, so I kind of want to give myself some
Yeah.
time. But for the most part, I find whenever I do things like this, it's like when I teach, it's the same thing. I always just try to speak from my heart and just, I always trust that truth is going to come out, and it's always the easiest thing to say is the truth.
Just
right?
getting into your body.
Yeah.
Getting into your body and letting it speak
Yeah.
from your heart.
I mean, it's not like a yoga class if I ever get a little bit nervous when I can say or tell people to go into down dog.
Yeah, right.
So, like, don't look
Let's
at me.
just take a child's pose and take a breath.
Maybe I can do that.
Maybe you can. Hey, that would be.
That would
That
be
might
cool. I've
actually
not
work.
actually
They
seen
might.
anybody do that.
They might actually need that.
Yeah.
So what else do you have going on? I know you're working on a book, right?
I am. Yeah. It's been a labor of love for the last 2 years. And look, you've written about, you know how it is.
That's exactly what I say, though. I say it took me 2 years, and it wasn't like I was. You know, I have some friends that are like, "Oh, I wrote my book. I went up into the mountains," and I'm like, "Girl, I was like in between, like, you know, any chance I got, I was writing. So it took me a long time.
Yeah.
And it was like, I felt like I was giving birth for 2 years.
Oh,
like it was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done.
Yeah. Ditto. There's been moments where I've quit.
Yeah.
You know, there's been moments where I'm like, this isn't going to work. I can't, this is not making sense. Like, but I'm finally at a point now where I've realized that this is how I'm doing this book, because not because I'm trying to write it for, oh, this is going to help somebody. I hope that it does. Obviously, that's always the hope. But I'm writing it in a way to have it be a cathartic experience, number one, but also to just really get all of the things that have helped me in my life into one place. Yes. You know?
And you have to get that out.
Yeah.
Like for me, it was like, I need to get this out of my brain and out of my body, and just, and then it was like, it was a release, and I was like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's going to be amazing. I can't wait. I can't wait to read it.
So like, we'll see. You'll be one of the first to get a copy.
Oh, I can't wait. So one of the questions I love to ask everybody is, what is your golden secret?
I think that being able to fully embody who you are is my golden secret.
How do you do that?
I think that just, look, we come into this world with what we come in with. You know, so many times people want something else, right? They wish they could be somewhere else financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically. People are always looking for the ways that they're not perfect.
Yeah.
And so I kind of was raised with just being grateful to be alive, you know, just being grateful for what you had, you know, and it didn't matter how little or how much, but just to be able to embody the fact that whatever I say or do doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, you know. What matters is your ability to be fully who you are in this moment. That's like the ultimate act of rebellion, you know, is to just accept what is and not worry about what anybody says or thinks or doesn't think of you.
I think,
you know?
I think that's a hard place for a lot of people to get to.
Yeah.
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 Take some life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been faced with a lot of like loss and death in my life, and so I think for me it was kind of a no-brainer place to get to, because you know, seeing people get shot or people get stabbed as a young child, you really learn the value of living.
Yeah.
You know, even though there was moments in my life where I felt disconnected from that, especially as a teenager when you're going through really tough things. But when I was finally able to get to a place in my life where I was like, whoa, wait, like we get to do this lifetime once, you know?
Yeah.
So why not just own it and just take full responsibility and agency in what this one is? Because you can become so unlimited, you know?
Yeah. I love that. Thank you so much, sister. I'm so excited about your book, your TEDx talk, and I love your podcast, Radically Loved.
Oh my God. I love you. I just love you so much. No, can I just say that you have literally inspired me and hundreds and thousands of other people and everybody watching this. Like, you really are such an inspiration, and I just wish people would know you more personally at that level, because you're incredible. You really
so
are.
Sweet.
I'm so lucky and
Takes
blessed
one to know
tonight.
one.
Oh, thanks, girl.
Yay!